I'm well. How are you,
Not
sir?
too bad. Thanks for making time for us as always. Good to have you on the program. And every month, Tony, June comes around and we talk June Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't know about you, but I feel like this is a conversation that a lot of men are starting to embrace their mental wellness, their mental health. I've seen the statistics. It's like, what isn't it like 14 men every second are commit suicide or death by suicide, however they phrase it now. The statistics. It's a whole bunch of men every year take their own life. But I think this conversation is starting to become more not so much taboo, and men recognizing that when you're going through a tough time, it's okay to say you're going through a tough time. How about this?
Yeah, absolutely, Seth. I think you're exactly right. I mean, we look at the U.S. Average that adults have self-report a mental health issue. About 20% of the U.S. population has a diagnosable mental health issue. So that's 20% of our fellow brothers that, for whatever reason, could be stress, could be biological, could be trauma, could be neurochemical, could be an event that are working through their behavioral health. And I think you're 100% right. I am so happy to see, and it's not quickly, but it's kind of growing at a glacial speed. But men are starting to understand that their mental health care is health care, and that looking for help is not a sign of weakness, but actually a sign of strength. And you can go all the way back biblical where it says a wise man seeks counsel. So, nothing new under the sun is that if we're going through a hard time, the joke is that men don't like to stop and ask for directions, but this is the time where we need to ask for some directions because, quite frankly, that sometimes we're encountering things that we've never encountered before, don't have the resources for. And if we could reach out to our fellow man and say, that's a little further down the road, how'd you get there? I think that's important to do.
Yeah, sure. Tony, when it comes to seeking counsel, you said a wise man seeks counsel. For a lot of men, there's that stigma of, oh, I'm fine. I'm a man. This is just life as a man, those sorts of things, all those, kind of, like I said, those stigmas around men and their mental wellness. But for that person out there that says, they've had that mentality their whole life, okay, one foot in front of the other, I'll get through this. It's going to be fine. Those sorts of things. Excuse me. What's the first step? I mean, once they kind of recognize like there's something going on here, I need to maybe do something about this. What is the first step?
Yeah. I mean, well, one, that is a huge first step is to say, I'm under resourced or I don't have the bandwidth to deal with this on my own. I think that's the hardest step. I always tell fellow clinicians that the hardest appointment for a client is the first one because they've got to go through the door and that's a very humbling and a very difficult time because you're surrendering control, and men love control, and we love a plan. And so you're going into an area where you don't have control, you don't have a plan, and you don't have predictability of how it's going to come out. But maybe if I can hit below the belt, maybe that's some of the problem that we're working through is that we've controlled everything so hard that it's tiring. So what I would say is talk to your social group because I would be surprised if somebody in your social circle has not participated in therapy or a family member, and ask them for a trusted referral because respectfully to my colleagues, I look at therapy like a pair of shoes. They all fit differently, and they are all there for a different part of the journey.
Right.
So, Seth, if you come and see me for behavioral health, and you're like, Tony's a jerk, he doesn't understand, he's insensitive, he's way too direct. That's my problem. That's not your problem. So, fire me and move on. That's the best part is that you should be in the driver's seat for your pursuit of mental wellness. So try it out. It's, we see the cliche stuff of, they're going to have me go lay on a couch, talk to me about my, thoughts about my mom, or what type of cloud could I be, or something strange like that. It isn't like that. It is a conversation between two people where one person is driving the ship. And the beautiful part is the other clinician, all they're doing, or all they should be doing, is mirroring back, giving you a different perspective. They're giving you another side of the elephant. When all you can see is the trunk, they might see a leg and say, from what you're describing, it sounds like you may be afraid of this, or you may be hesitant to engage in this, or you expected this. And that pause and that reflection, and really to get out of our own mind for a little bit, could be exactly what we need. Because I just tell people, like, the best thing you can do for your mental health: sleep, eat, and rest, and breathe. Like, very, very simple things, but we live in a society, Seth, it's growing more gender neutral, but for the longest time, men have been valued by what they produce instead of who they are. And now, the workforce, it's just, how many widgets can you make? And hi, I'm Tony, and this is my title. And it's like, well, that's one small part. That's what I do. That's not who I am.
Yeah. It's what I do. It's who I am. There's a whole Chris Rock bit about it, right? What the men are, what men are valued as, and it's what they produce, right? For sure. Yeah. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, my guest on the Zoom today, as we talk Men's Mental Health Awareness Month in the month of June. And, for a lot of men, Tony, it's just that day-to-day grind, the stress of, home finances, maybe trouble in the house, maybe trouble with, as guys get older, obviously mom and dad become more dependent on them. They're getting older along with you, those sorts of things. There's always a challenge for a man, no matter what time of the year, no matter what season of life, there's always a challenge. And it's the same, and, I shouldn't just reduce it to men. I mean, women face the same thing, but, like you said, men are oftentimes just asked to just deal with it and not address the problem. It's just or not address like their mental wellness. It's just they're always serving. It always feels like men are serving everybody else except for themselves.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. At least from my experience, is that that message of rub some dirt in it, just endure it, real men don't cry, all of that garbage needs to go away. And quite frankly, we have children now, Seth. It's our job to start educating the youth about, real men do cry because they feel things. A man is determined by not how much aggression or power he can show, but how can he demonstrate self-control. And so I think the same thing about stress management or anxiety. We've all been told, like, you just deal with it. You don't tell anybody your problems. That is the most unhealthy thing that you could do. And to my female counterparts, they already have a built-in social system where hopefully they can create it, where they have lots of friends that are genuinely there to help bear the burden, to carry the load. Men, we haven't gotten there. And I'll tell you, I am a mental health professional with 25 years of experience. I have 3 close friends. Is that healthy? Probably not, but I don't have the time, quite frankly, and it's awful to say this. I don't have the time to invest into relationships because I want to be there for those people. Right. And because of my work, family, everything else, it's like, I don't want to commit to something that I can't handle. And so because of that, I have a lower social group. And here's the other thing. We don't want to bother other people with our problems. But if somebody came to me that was my friend and said, I need help, I'm there for them. So why wouldn't I expect that my friend would behave the same way?
Yeah, for sure. Well, on that note, Tony, I'll tell you what, rather than dive too much deeper into this topic, and we need to cut it off in the middle, let's go ahead and break here, and we'll come back with some more. For folks out there, they hear this message today, Tony, it resonates with them. They want to seek that help. They want to take that first step. Even if even if they're not out there broadcasting it to their friends and their network and all those things, they want to keep it, kind of quiet, but they still want to seek that help. what's the best way for them to learn about whether it's the Piatt County Mental Health Center or the resources you have for men and everybody else? How do they learn about those things?
Yeah, I would encourage you to give us a call, 217-762-5371. Check us out online. I'm going to promote the Piatt County Mental Health Board webpage. So 708piatt.org. We have a whole list of mental health resources of all providers in Piatt County. Look up the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI. They're a great thing. SAMHSA, your 911 crisis lifeline. There's lots of resources that are out there where exactly you can protect your anonymity. And again, I would just remind people when they engage in behavioral health treatment, they are protected legally under what they call the Health Insurance Portability Privacy Act, HIPAA, right? So your counselors have not only an ethical, but they have a legal requirement to hold your confidence.
Very good. On that note, Tony, let's break, my friend. Come back with some more. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, is my guest on the Zoom today. More to come with Tony on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday. I'm Jim Saylor on the RFD Radio Network. Two-sided trade with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. July corn opening 423, up 4 1/4. September corn up 4 1/4, 431 3/4, and December corn 450, up 4. July beans starting today 11.12 1/2, down 3 1/4. August beans down 3, 11.18 1/4, and November beans down 2 1/2. 11.33. July wheat 5.92 1/4, up 9. July KC wheat is up a dime, 6.40. July bean meal 303.80, up $1.10. July bean oil up 11 cents, 74.67. Energy market August Brent crude oil down 201, 92.24. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
This is Inside.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the Zoom today is Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center. Tony, we're talking, of course, June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And, one of the things that maybe we should talk about, Tony, is whether it's the spouse of a man who is going through something, whether it's the children in the home, friends or relatives or whoever, what are maybe some of the things they should be looking out for in this individual? They know that they're the man in their life, their father, their dad, whoever, their friend is maybe not, something's up, he's acting just different, maybe a little more of a short fuse. What are some of the signs of an individual that might be going through whether it's a mental health crisis, just an emotional crisis? What should we be looking out for in men that, may be going through something, but we just, don't know what that is, but we know they need help?
Yeah, so I'll be a little bit more vulnerable to you and just share with your listeners my own mental health journey and some of the symptoms that, quite frankly, my wife had noticed in me, where she was like, you need to probably get some additional guidance or some support. And so, our spouses and our kids are sadly sometimes the people that succumb to our exhibited behaviors. That I've heard people that said hurt people bleed on others they love, which is tough. So for me, Seth, it was I was sleeping a lot more. anymore. Like I would come home just exhausted and I'd be asleep by 8 o'clock. I would be reclusive from social activities. I wouldn't talk to friends as frequent as I did. I was distant in my own relationship with my wife. I was not engaged in the daily to day processes with my kids. Low energy, mood instability, pessimism. I mean, and that's just me. I don't know if that looks like everybody, but those were enough that my wife was like, this is different. One of the things that my wife said, in addition to like, you're sleeping a lot more, is she was like, Tony, you don't laugh at all anymore. And so I think when you see your spouse lose their joy, you need to be asking those more probing questions, because here's the best thing. Men will answer the question about the behavioral health with a big but. And it is, yeah, I'm tired today, but it's just a hard day at work. Or, yeah, I'm irritable, but it's just this. And we're very, very quick to say these lies. It's just a busy season. I'm just tired. And I would just say, men, when has it not been a busy season? It's always a busy season. When have you haven't been tired? Yeah, you've always been tired. I just got a lot on my mind. When have you ever had not a lot on your mind? So one of the things that I would say is, like, men, you need to live a life with capacity, because things are come and go. Hard times will come and go. And if you're running at 109%, you have no capacity for when the rain and the thunder come. And you'll redline. So live a life with capacity, live a life with friends, and live a life with rest. And just live now in today. Don't be worried about the future. Don't be concerned on past mistakes. Like, mindfulness is that state of being, like understanding what's going on right now. Like, be present.
Yeah, great advice. Great advice. Let's talk about Tony, our networks. You mentioned you've got 2 to 3 good buddies. I've got probably the same, 2 to 3 good buddies I could text at any time and say, hey, the things aren't going well. You got time to talk, something like that. And I know they'll take my call and they'll just kind of listen or help me, whatever the case may be. How about leaning on that network of people around you in difficult times? How about that piece of it?
Yeah. I would say they're your friends, and they love you, and they care for you, and they want what's best for you. And again, I'm coming back to that power and control thing that really kind of plagues masculinity, is that we do not like giving it up. And you have to, like, if you have a friend that's telling you, hey man, you're different, or something's changed, or you all right, like, trust them enough that they've already done the hard work and they're bringing it up. So trust that they have your best intention in mind, and take a risk and say, yeah, I am struggling.
Well, and it also probably goes both ways on that, Tony. When and like you said, your friends are there. If you bring something tough to them, they're gonna hear you. They're not gonna bust your chops about it. But at the same time, I mean, have empathy for that person, have sympathy for what they're going through. If you are a group that likes to bust each other's chops, and that's just being vulnerable and raw with each other isn't part of your dynamic. When these things come up, kind of have that awareness, like, oh, this may not be the time for that, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I would also say this, playing to the severity of individuals that sadly have lost their life to death by suicide. I heard a speaker from a personal experience share a testimony, and it's still kind of rolling around in my head right now, where they're saying people that are contemplating suicide think that if they terminate their life, that they will end the pain. But in the reality is that pain is just transferred on to the people that are left behind.
Yep.
And so talk to somebody, reach out, realize you have value and you have purpose, and this world is better because you're in it. So talk.
I say that to a couple of my buddies sometimes, like they struggle with things, and I'm like, hey man, like it doesn't sound like you're there, but I just want you to know the world is better because you're here. If you're ever at that point, like the world is good, the world is good, the world is better because you're here, for sure. Very good stuff, Tony.
Yeah.
Look at the clock, quickly running out of time. Anything on June being Men's Mental Health Awareness Month we didn't touch on very quickly you want to put out there for us, sir?
Feelings may be real, but they might not be true, and they are only temporary. So hold on, breathe, rest, and give it a second, because it will pass.
Yep, this too shall pass. I had that told to me yesterday. Great advice as always. Tony, how do folks learn about all things Piatt County Mental Health Center?
Give me a call, 217-762-5371. Check us out online at piattmhc.org or check us out on Facebook.
Very good. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, my guest on the Zoom here for this morning. Network news coming your way now.
WHOW.